Oh, you guys know each
Yes,
other?
that's
And
great.
Oh,
go
Since she
ahead
was
and
this
slate
big.
for us, and you
That's
can go ahead
Sui's
and take it.
daughter. Sui's a comedian. He was on and a writer. He was in Don't Be a Menace with us years ago. And this is him and
Oh,
Donnie's baby girl. I used to hold her
oh.
like this. Like, look at her. Are you in Atlanta?
No, I'm in LA.
You moved? You're not in Spelman anymore? Did you
I
graduate?
graduated. I graduated in
she's a
May.
professional. She's with us here. She's a professional.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
I know.
All right, let's go.
I'm excited to be here with you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Just to start off, can you guys talk to me a little bit about how you connected to these characters and how much of what happens in the story is mirroring of your own life, if at all?
Um, well, I would say the things that I relate to are having this relationship with a father who is larger than life and, you know, um, is charming and loving, and everybody wants to be around him, including his daughter. Just my father is a planet. He's a whole, ecosystem, and it's the same with this kid with Bill's character. And also, I think I relate to being a woman of a certain age who sort of like has, these empirically is kind of accomplished all this stuff and having these questions about my own self-esteem and where I derive my own self-love from and what I want my life to be defined by, and being kind of open to and susceptible to like somebody else's interpretation of that. I might not be that open to that, but I can relate to the feeling of like just wondering, having this existential moment of wondering.
Right.
Well, I'm Bill Murray in my life. I'm the larger than life dad, and my poor am I, because that's just who her daddy is, and she's learned to deal with it, and sometimes not, and but I just love the dynamic of. I know eventually, at some point in your life, you just go, "That's just my dad," and I love him for whether I agree or disagree. I just love him for who he is. You got to take the best parts of people and let go of the rest. Life is food and so are people. So you take in what works for you and all the joy. And as you continue with life, you got to let the other stuff go, because you never look in the toilet and go, hey, what was the nutrients in what I
Oh
poured out
my
yesterday? No,
God.
your body takes in exactly what it needs. See, it makes sense if you think about it. Like,
Yeah, no, it does.
The poo analogy. Okay.
I didn't go to Buckley. That's a public school I-70 analogy.
They teach that in public school? How to
In
look at the toilet?
the projects they did. You
Right.
did.
Right. So this film is a generation clash comedy, and ironically, there are strong Hollywood generational family ties with both of you, even with Sophia and her family. So, are you guys able to wrap your head around the generation legacy that you all bring to this project? I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I actually never thought about it. It's true. We all come from these like big Hollywood families, And I have to say, like to the credit of Marlon and Sophia, and I've known Marlon longer than Sophia. We've known each other since I was 19. Like you are, you're your own determined self-starting, ambitious, creative, positive person. And I think there's a cautionary tale in Hollywood that you come from a family, you come from Hollywood, like it's just going to eat you up. And it does. Unfortunately, it's a very powerful, seductive business, but we are the lucky ones. We're the ones who had, I don't know if it's a combination of good parenting and, self-esteem and whatever you're bringing genetically, but like we are the lucky ones that we are okay, we're alive, we have our own careers, we found a way from underneath the legacy of our family to create this little space for ourselves. It's
It's
I
funny
do find it
because
lucky.
we all do come from these big, famous kind of legacy kind of families. But when I met Rashida, I had no idea. Like, she didn't wear hair. She didn't wear "I'm Quincy Jones's daughter" on her chest. She was just Rashida. Same thing with Sophia. Like, we're all our own individuals, and as much as you think there'd be this ego on the set, there was absolutely none. Everybody was so chill and just so nice and so grounded. And it's one of the things I love most about Rashida. I sent my daughter to Buckley because when I met Rashida and Kadada and her friends, I was like, I want my daughter to be like that. Somebody that can come from somebody so big, like, you know, a big legacy, but still be so grounded and be themselves and be smart and be articulate and be, you know, just so self-aware and so confident that, and, you know, responsible and just, you know, all those wonderful things that Rashida is. And I just, you know, and thankfully my daughter has some similar traits.
Yeah, I love that. I love
And so do you, Donnie. Kennedy.
Thank you. Rashida, you worked with some Hollywood heavyweights over the years and throughout your career. What was it like to explore this father-daughter relationship with Bill Murray?
I mean, he's the heaviest of weights, right? I mean, he's the man. He's a myth. He's a legend. But then he's also just a really personable, wonderful. Like, listen, he has an inherent mysterious vibe about him. Always, he just always will. He's that kind of person. Um, he's so unique in the way he expresses things and the way he moves through the world. But as a performer, like, he is a generous, wonderful listener. He's so present. He does so many weird original takes on dialogue and moments that it's just so fun to be able to act opposite him, because he's a legend because he deserves to be a legend. Like, that's all there. It's not like nobody imposed that on him. Like, he is legendary status all the time, and is like committed to the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm so excited to see you guys in this film. You've also worked with Kenya Barris on Black AF.
Steve, that is all the time we have. I'm so sorry. Go ahead and ask the last question.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we're seeing the messages on the chat, but go ahead and ask your last question. We can go ahead and wrap after this.
Okay. I'm going to ask this Kenya Barris question because I worked with him on Black AF. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the power that is Kenya as a superstar content creator. Can you just speak to a little bit about his genius?
Kenya is so funny. Yeah, besides being bright and hilarious, I think he's really, really, really hard on himself. And he is compulsive. Some would say manic about his collecting, like, he's just constantly creating content and producing and writing and directing. And I love it. I mean, his hustle is so real, but his point of view, like, he has a lot of anxiety as a writer. And I feel like I love people who have anxiety, because I have anxiety, and it makes you so self-reflective, and it makes you so good at observing the world, because you're not like celebrating all the time. You're like trying to figure out how to like live and breathe through your life. I love working with him. And also he's so good at, like, he just lets people critique him. And I think that's what keeps him great, is he refuses to like buy all the hype about him. Like, he only invited me onto his set so that I would just like basically diss him all the time. We diss each other all the time, but like, I think he needs that, because it helps reinforce like whatever's good about him, and I love that about him.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. I might call you for extra time.
Anytime. Bye, Kennedy-Rue.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.